It's going to be really helpful if you can make a plan and plan out exactly how you're going to focus and how you're going to get work done at home. Planning that out ahead of time can just help you stay focused and on track and motivated, and it can also help you to maximize your study time so that you might actually have more time to focus on things outside of school. When you're building your at-home learning plan, it's important to consider all these questions. What are you going to work on? What do we need to do today, and what can we work on tomorrow? Where will you work on it? That's creating that study zone like we just talked about. When will you work on it, and how long will you work on it? Kind of planning out and scheduling out your time to make sure that you have enough time to finish your assignments with the least amount of stress possible. And who can you go to for help? If you get frustrated, if you get stuck with a certain subject, who can you reach out to? How do you get a hold of your teacher to ask questions? And then who can you go to in your house or in your circle of friends to help you with each subject? When we're frustrated, we don't think clearly. So if you don't plan out who you can go to for help, then when you hit an obstacle and you get frustrated, it's going to be a lot easier to just throw in the towel and give up. Planning out your time is going to help you feel more motivated and more focused, and it's also going to reduce your stress. If you plan out your time and you plan out what you need to do each day and each week, you can kind of cut back on the chances that you're going to end up in a situation where you have a really big assignment due and you put it off and now you don't have enough time to complete it. That's really stressful, and that's one of those stressful situations that we can easily avoid by planning out our time a little bit. My recommendation is to try to match your at-home schedule with what your normal schedule would be as much as you possibly can. Anything about your daily schedule that you don't have to change, don't change it. Even something as simple as eating lunch at the same time that you would at school can help you feel more normal and less stressed out because of all these changes, and it can also help you stay on track with your schoolwork. Whatever schedule you create for yourself, make sure that you are being realistic. Create a schedule that's really going to work for you. Everyone's ideal schedule is going to look a little bit different. The more realistic you are about the schedule you create, the more likely you're actually going to follow that schedule on a consistent basis. And the only way that a schedule is going to be helpful to you at all is if you follow it consistently. My example of being realistic is that I adjusted my sleep schedule. Now that I don't have to be up as early for work, it was not realistic for me to say that I would still get up at 5:30 or 6. I'm not a morning person, so I know that if there's nothing forcing me to get up that early, I will not get up. I will not get out of bed. So to make my schedule more realistic, I shifted my sleep schedule to where I get to stay up a little bit later and wake up a little bit later. Don't forget to build in brain breaks throughout your day. That's also part of keeping your schedule realistic. A brain break is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a little bit of time for our brains to recharge and refocus. If you think about it, we have brain breaks built in throughout our day normally, like the 5 minutes between classes. That might not seem like much of a break, but it is an opportunity for you to get up, move around, talk to your friends, focus on things outside of what you are learning in class. Short brain breaks throughout the day can give us a lot of benefits. They can help us feel less stressed out, less overwhelmed, and less frustrated. They can help us pay attention and focus more. And they can also help us transition our focus from one thing to the next. It can also help us work through challenges and stay motivated. If we are working on something and we're really struggling and we're getting frustrated, it's really helpful to walk away from that and take a little break from it. That can help you go back a little bit more motivated and refreshed so that you can actually work through those challenges. And studies have shown that we actually learn more quickly and our brains hold on to more information after we give our brains that little break and that little time to recharge. Plan out and set some ground rules about how you're going to use your brain breaks. When will you use brain breaks? Are you going to schedule it like for every hour that you work, you get a 15-minute break? Or are you going to schedule it so that whenever you're feeling frustrated, you take a break? Or are you going to do both? How long are your brain breaks going to be? Are they going to be short, 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes? Or do you need longer brain breaks to really feel like your brain has had that chance to recharge? For me personally, I need very short brain breaks, 5, 10, 15 minutes maximum. Anything longer than 15 minutes, and it's way too difficult for me to sit back down and refocus on work. But if I keep my brain break short, that's enough time for my brain to recharge, and I'm still able to easily sit back down and refocus on work and feel more focused when I sit down. Think about what you need and be realistic, because you don't want your brain breaks to turn into a rest of the day break. Brain breaks are meant to help you focus more and get more work done. So you don't want it to turn into something where it's having you focus less and getting less work done. Also, kind of plan out what kind of brain breaks you want to use. Do you need brain breaks that are a little bit more calming, a little bit more chill, like listening to music, working on an art project, maybe talking to a friend or scrolling through Instagram? Or do you need a brain break that's a little bit more active? Do you need to get up and move around, maybe get outside and get a little bit of exercise? Also think about where you're going to take your brain break. Can you take your brain breaks in your study or work zone, or do you need to get up and move to a different place to take a break? I personally cannot take brain breaks in my work zone. When I try to take a break in my work zone, it makes it more difficult for me to refocus on work when my break is over. It's most helpful for me to get up and move to a different area of my apartment to take a break, because then when I come back to my work area and sit down, that's kind of my signal to my brain that it's time to refocus. But I have talked to students who can sit at their desk and take a brain break, and it doesn't bother them. They're still able to refocus on work when it's time for that break to end. Just be realistic with yourself when you're scheduling your brain breaks so that they're most helpful for you. Next is to create a checklist. Like I said before, I am definitely a checklist kind of gal. I love them. I think that they're very helpful and effective. Having everything listed out, kind of making a to-do list, can make it easier for you to get started on work, especially big projects. And it can help you prioritize your time. It can also help you just feel less stressed out and less overwhelmed. If you know that you have a ton of assignments due, then you might just feel really, really stressed out, really overwhelmed, and then it can make it more likely that you might procrastinate or put things off because you're feeling overwhelmed. But if you can make a list of everything that you have to do and when you have to do it, then you can prioritize your time and break up your work into smaller, more manageable, or what I like to call bite-sized pieces. Let's say you have a ton of assignments due this week, but you know that your assignments for 2 classes are due on Wednesday, your assignments for a few other classes are due on Thursday, and then you have a few assignments due on Friday. If you make a list, then you can plan out, okay, I need to work on the assignments due on Wednesday first. So maybe Monday and Tuesday, you prioritize those assignments that are due on Wednesday. And that can just help you get through your workload with the least amount of stress possible. It's really helpful to have everything listed out that you need to do so that you're not stuck thinking about, well, what do I need to do next? If you already have it written down, it's easy. You don't have to think about it. Plus, it can help keep you motivated, because if you're anything like me, getting to cross something off your to-do list is kind of a satisfying feeling. I think that lists are not just helpful to show us what we have to do, but they're also helpful to show us all the things that we've already done, which can really keep us motivated. When you think about all the things you've already gotten done and you've already accomplished, it might motivate you more in the future instead of focusing on all the things that you still have to do, which might just make you feel kind of discouraged and less motivated. Following your routines is going to help you stay on track, and it's going to reduce stress, especially if you can keep your daily routines as close to what they normally would be as possible. Any routines that you have each day that do not have to change, don't change them. Keeping your routines can also help you focus and transition your focus, and it can replace some of the lost structure that you might be missing right now. So for example, I figured out that my drive to work in the morning and home in the afternoon were important parts of my day, because that was my part of the day where I shifted my focus from home stuff to work stuff Now that I don't have to drive anywhere, I've had to come up with a new routine to replace those parts of my day. Something in the morning that can help my brain shift my focus from home stuff onto what I need to do for work, and something I can do at the end of the day to kind of put my stuff for work away and focus on what I need to do at home. And finally, it's going to be helpful to establish a system of rewards for yourself. We kind of have to keep ourselves motivated more than we're used to, and a reward system is a fun way to do that. For example, I do not let myself turn on the TV until I'm done with work that day. Watching my favorite shows is kind of my reward for getting my work done during the day. So set up a system of rewards. Think about what is going to motivate you, and then set up some guidelines. For example, maybe you have a huge assignment due, and you decide to say, when I get this assignment done, I get a special treat. Maybe you work with your parents and they cook you your favorite meal for finishing that huge assignment. Or maybe you say, okay, what really motivates me is getting to play video games on Xbox with my friends. So maybe you set up the reward of, when I finish this big project, I get to spend however much time playing on Xbox Live with my friends. Whatever motivates you, just make sure that you come up with a plan and stick to it. So for me, to keep my reward effective, I cannot let myself turn on the TV during the day or before I've gotten my work done. If I start doing that, then it's not going to motivate me. It's not going to work anymore. So again, think about what motivates you and set up those prizes for yourself to reward yourself for your hard work and keep you motivated to keep working hard. Next, we're going to talk a little bit more about how you can keep yourself motivated. So make sure to tune in for that video.